The film was amazing, right? Alright, let's get right into it. We have a star-studded panel ready for you. Let's bring them on out. Robert Eggers, Bill Skarsgård, and the new Rose Tab. Look at rocking the shoes. I love the shoes, Rob. They look good, man. Thank you. All right, one more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here tonight, gentlemen. Lily is coming in. You know, our queen has to be a little fashionably late, but she's coming. Hang tight. All right, so I want to get right into it. I know you guys have talked about this a little bit, but Bill, you had such a wonderful transformation in this film. Wait, just quickly, the popcorn bucket is insane. Just so good, right? So good. Ladies and gents. Hey. Hi, how are you?
Sorry I'm late.
No, you're not late. Right on time. Right on time. Okay, so first, I want to talk about Bill as the Count, aka NOSFERATU. That transformation was just out of this world and insane. I want to talk about the first time that the cast and crew saw you in full-on NOSFERATU attire, from top to bottom, right? Eggers, let's start with you, man. When you first saw him, what was that experience like?
I mean, it wasn't an instantaneous thing because I think we wanted Bill to look like a dead Transylvanian nobleman, and when Bill first saw the sculpt of the prosthetic, he said, "Dude, that guy didn't even look like me when I was alive." But when we did the first makeup fitting, I saw him getting inspired and playing with the makeup and seeing that there was something he could do. But it was the third screen test with the full prosthetics, when the painting was all sorted and the full costume, when I saw Bill disappear and Orlok was there, and it was super fucking cool.
Amazing. Bill, I have to talk about the process of transformation. I can only imagine the hours that went into that before you went into set. Give the people a hint into the makeup and prosthetic process. How many hours did it take to become NOSFERATU?
3 hours for hands and head, and 6 hours for full body. But yeah, it's an evolving process, and I've been saying this as well, but Robert have been marinating this story for a very long time, and he showed me a digital painting that he had done 2 years before we started to shoot, and he looked like that guy. So it was very cool, but it's you prep in an abstract way because you're prepping the voice and you do all these kind of technicalities, and I would share everything with Robert. He's very specific as a filmmaker, as you guys know, and that's a tool for an actor, because you just go, "Okay, what do you think here? What do you think here?" And you go, and you're like, "All right, cool." And that was sort of the evolving process of it, and yeah, like he said, I think for the camera test that we did, the second or third one, there's sort of a sense of relief, because I felt the character come for the first time I felt the character come alive was the same time that he noticed him come alive. And I remember Robert coming up to me after and said, "There he is." And I said, "I think so." And that was a relief, because I don't know, you can't force that. It comes, if it comes, you prepare for it to come, and thank God it did.
Right on. I just want to quickly shout out the breath work that was happening in the film. So good, right? So specific. Can you just talk a little bit about what the training was like, and how did you maintain your voice and keep it healthy, man?
Well, I mean, the breath was stated in the script, so a lot of the stuff that, it was stated in the breath, and then I thought that was very cool description, and so I worked a lot of the breath, and then the breath was my way to enter the voice, and yeah, but I never had any, like, I did not want the voice to be here. So I wanted it as deep as possible, and I wanted it to flow freely. And I achieved that, so, which meant that the voice never got strained. It flowed freely, yeah.
Right on. As you were talking, I was thinking about the mustache. We were talking about it on stage. That mustache was epic, and I love the choice that it was about. We were hoping that it would turn into a Halloween costume, maybe. You know, Lily Rose.
If you can find a Transylvanian nobleman without a mustache, let me know.
Lily Rose, you did a phenomenal job in the film. What a revolution! From the first frame to the end, my friend. I was so fascinated by the body convulsions. You know, talk a little bit about the training that went behind that and what that experience was like for you.
Yeah, thank you. It was a huge part of the prep process for me, and same as like Bill was saying about the voice. It was clear in the script how much how big a part that was going to be of Ellen's journey, and so too was it for me in the prep process. We did obviously like regular rehearsal of all the scenes and everything, and then I worked privately with a movement coach who helped me so much, and it was really ended up being like a huge tool for me in finding the character, because those moments are like, it's like a form of her, expressing like, involuntarily, I guess, what's going on the inside. And so it was cool for me to kind of learn the character from the outside in that way. To find all those moments physically meant that I was helped in finding them emotionally as well, because the two really go hand in hand. And yeah, I felt the physical movements were very helpful for the emotion, actually, because it's quite like disorienting moving it can be, moving your body in a way that you're not used to, and that's, kind of it's insane. You don't do it on the daily, and so I found that it kind of really shook me up emotionally as well, which ended up being quite helpful for all the moments.
I mean, you guys are all fans. You've probably been reading stuff, but Bill's voice is unaided by like digital effects to make it lower, and Lily's body work is unaided by CG to do all the crazy stuff she does. There's no wire work. It's not sped up. That's just the performance for both of them.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I just want to quickly chat about the final shot. It was so beautiful, so perfect. Talk a little bit about the symbolism about that final shot and what that experience was like on set that day.
I mean, it's just Death in the Maiden, which is like a great motif in art literature, in art history, and here it is, our version. I will share one fun fact, which is if you watch the movie again, you might notice that the back holes in the vampire are still bleeding, his eyes are still bleeding, his ears are still bleeding in that final shot. And we also rigged it so that like his anus was bleeding. It didn't seem quite as emotionally effective. and we literally had to put a cork in it.
Wow. Some of us are hearing that for the first time, right? And Nicholas, man, you were also absolutely incredible in the film.
They also put a cork in me.
After much of the beginning of the film features your character trapped in this castle, and I was particularly fascinated by the pacing in the first half of this film. It felt so intentional, and I feel like it left us all hanging on the edge of our seat, like, what is gonna happen next, Talk a little bit about how you worked with Robert Eggers to build that pacing, and what that experience was like meeting the Count for the first time on set.
The pacing is all Rob and Jaron, his DP. They had the shots designed and laid out perfectly beforehand. The only control I had over that was sometimes to make the camera pan, they would take it off of my head tone. if I looked somewhere. So sometimes if I wanted to have a little bit extra close-up, I'd look somewhere a little bit later. And then they'd say, no, we have to do it again. So that was, that was all their beautifully designed shots, and then it was just about fitting in with the choreography of those. And then meeting the Count the first time, I think that was a part of the film, character-wise, that Rob was really interested in exploring, because how far do you go into meeting this person, how much you've drawn into them in a magnetic way, in a dreamlike trance, before you realize what's going on and how terrible this is, and try and escape before it's too late, and how long do you remain being polite and trying to do your job despite this person being terrifying. So I think those were the things we were balancing through that. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I just have to shout out, there was a little bit of a love triangle going on in a very specific way, a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about your character's role in that love triangle between the Count, Thomas, and Ellen, of course?
Me talking about
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about it.
You can talk about it too.
Mr. Stand in the corner, a love triangle.
Well, I mean, when we were talking about the final shot of the movie, it's pretty bad for me. I walk in on that. It's tragedy. He's lost everyone, and he's really messed up. So it's not a great day.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Talk a little bit about it. I just thought that love triangle was very interesting in the way it was depicted on screen, and Robert Eggers, you did an incredible job bringing that to life as well. And I thought that played a lot to the story.
Thank you.
Of course. Mr. Willem DaFoe.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have to shout out, this is, I believe, your third collaboration together.
It is.
With Robert Eggers. What excited you most about joining this cast? And was it, maybe playing a mad scientist that excited you?
Don't say mad.
Sorry, sorry.
He's got particular studies. He's studies in the occult, alchemy. Yeah. But don't call him mad.
I won't do that again, I promise.
This time, I love working with Rob, and beautifully written role. I always say, if Rob was an actor, this would be his role, so I really am kind of his extension in this story. I'm an extension of what he wants to see, because he wrote it so beautifully. I know it was a passion project of his. No, just basically that.
Right on. And I thought the professor was giving a lot of comedic elements throughout the film, and I felt the humor was very intentional in a way. Can you talk a little bit about delivering those lines?
No, it's in the writing. I mean, I didn't even think about it being comic, but obviously he's kind of an outsider, so he has a different perspective on things. So he understands the ironies, stuff that doesn't quite line up, and he's also, he's in a funny place because he's trying to convince these people about stuff that they don't see. He's trying to make them understand, so he's a little miffed sometimes, and the gap between their understanding and his understanding sometimes, I think he's a little like, so that's a little where that humor comes from, I think.
Yes, like obviously Willem didn't play it for comedy because he's a good actor, to put it mildly. But yeah, Willem and Aaron Taylor Johnson and Simon McBurney's characters all have, this is intended to be my most approachable film. So as much as I want to have the mounting dread all the time, occasionally you want to let out the steam a little bit with a little bit of humor.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant the way you wrote that. Well done. I got to talk about the animals. Shout out to the animals in this. The cat made it to the end. But I want to talk a little bit about the rats. I know you talked about that a little bit. Just give me a rough estimate about how many rats were on set.
I think that Nick counted how many?
About about 7,500.
But I think the rat wrangler might have said 2,000. But in any case, we had thousands of rats, however many there were, and 200 of them were trained to enter on cue. And yeah, I mean, rats are really intelligent. I have a lot of respect for them, but they're constantly like pissing and shitting, just like constantly. So when you have thousands of them, between 2 and 10,000, it's quite a smelly affair.
I mean, I can imagine.
And if you're Emma Corrin and you have live rats on you for 14 takes of rat urine in your clavicle pooling. Yeah, it's cool.
Right, that's movie magic. The magic of movies, ladies and gents. I read that there was over 60 sets built for this film.
That is not an exaggerated number. That is true.
That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the castle interiors, the back lot, the whole city of Visburg, the monastery with the beautiful frescoes, we built it all.
Yeah. Lily, talk about your favorite day on set. I know it was absolutely fun to explore. Yeah.
My favorite day on set.
Yeah.
God, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was fun when we got to like all be together, I guess. I don't know. It was very like, it was such like a wonderful, unforgettable experience making this, but it wasn't like ha 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 ha, like, LOL all day. It was like there was a lot of like focus and just a lot of tricky stuff to get done. So, and like Nick, you've said this before, but I think it's very true. Like whenever you did accomplish something that was like tricky to get done, it felt like a beautiful win because everybody was involved, because like so many things have to go right for it to end up as beautiful as what you see, and so it feels like cool because we like all did it together. But as far as like fun stuff, I feel like it was fun when we got to all be together. Like it wasn't all the time we got to do scenes like all of us. So that was fun.
Yeah. Is there a scene that you're most proud of? I love that you tossed it to that, working together to accomplish a goal. What, maybe call it a scene or a moment that you're most proud of in the film?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I have a hard time like looking at my own self and being like that was good. so I don't know. I'm really proud of the movie. I feel like we all feel that way. Like I think it's so beautiful. I'm just like still really excited that I got to be part of it. Honestly, yeah.
Right on. I feel like you are building, Robert, your whole cinematic universe. Man, I mean, your films are so specific. They're so dope. Talk to me a little bit about what your characters have to possess to survive in your cinematic universe.
I mean, my characters usually don't survive, but the actors though need a lot of courage and ferocity, and that's the thing that I love about everyone who's sitting to the right of me is like the passion and hunger that they brought to set every single day, and it was sort of like alluded to, but we do these long unbroken takes, and obviously I'm not the only director who does this kind of stuff, but the way me and Jeremy, my DP, and I work is most of the shots we storyboard and plan before the actors get there, and then we have weeks of rehearsal where the actors have to learn this blocking, and then we're on set and everyone's dependent on each other, and Willem's dependent on Aaron, and Aaron's dependent on Emma, and they're dependent on Lily, and the camera operator, and the dolly pusher, and the focus puller, and we never use steady cam, so that also means that there's carpenters pulling walls out in the middle of the shot to get the crane or the dolly around the corner to get the, and so that makes a very focused set, and it also makes like an extra collaborative set, because everybody feels involved with making the movie, making that scene, making that moment happen, and that's cool. So, we need that to survive to make the movie. But I I'm actually disappointed that so many people live at the end of it.
The last question, obviously this comes out on Christmas Day and so many people are excited to see it around the world. What do you hope that this rendition of Nosferatu is known for?
I mean, the two things that are the most different from the Murnau film is one, that Ellen, Lily Rose Depp's character, is the female protagonist, is the central protagonist. And the hope was that by telling it through her eyes, the story would have more emotional and psychological depth. And then the other thing is that the vampire is the vampire from folklore. I wanted the vampire to be scary again, so I turned to folklore. It was written about and by people who thought that vampires actually existed. And those early folk vampires were nasty, rotten corpses, and I thought that would be a lot of fun to explore.
Right on. Everybody, give these lovely people a round of applause. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to ask everybody to stay tuned to our talent